did it again. I almost called it the High Noon Show. The High Noon Show is what we do at noon. Hi, I'm Pugs Moran. This is Pugs and Parker. Let's get him in here. There he is. He's James Parker. Ladies and gentlemen, look at him. Look at him. This is the second of two streams that I do here at the RadioMisfits.com podcast platform. The one stream, the first one, High Noon, that comes every Monday through Friday at noon. High Noon, come on by. It's current events, hot topics, headlines, all that stuff. And then this one, take a few hour break, do my running around, and then we come back here at 9 o'clock and we do this. It's Pugs and Parker. This is more conversational. I like to say the noon show is utilitarian. This one more conversation. It's just two dudes sitting around talking current events. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Come on into the chat room. Do whatever you need to do. Hey, I got a question for you. And this might seem like a dumb question. Maybe this is like, I don't know, maybe people who are good shoppers get that. First of all, yeah, I got to get to this. Leslie, what's that?
Okay. I'm sorry. I can't. I just didn't see my levels, and I was doing this. And
okay, well, I'm not hearing you in my headphones.
You're not hearing me?
No, I am hearing you through the computer, which I have no. Do I sound all right?
You sound just fine, but the levels look weird on my end. So, what about everyone else? Y'all okay? What's going on?
Apparently, I don't sound right here. Maybe we'll fix it this way. All right, now say something.
I'm talking just fine. My levels look better.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. I had this thing. We can hear you both. You both sound great from the audience. All right. Well, I shouldn't have sounded great because I didn't have my microphone on. I just turned my microphone on. So there you go. You were hearing me through the laptop microphone. So I got a question for you. Real quick question.
Please do.
So I do a lot of shopping, but I shop for like myself, like a single guy. Like, I go to the store like 5 times a week and I get whatever I need for that night and the next day, right? I don't do time to go to the store and shop for the whole week. I don't do that. Do you do that? Or is that mostly your wife's kind of area?
I might do that more than my wife.
Yeah. A lot of guys do. I know a lot of guys that do the bulk of the shopping. So here's my question. So I'm leaving the HMS, the office, right? And I get in the car and I get in that traffic and I'm just dealing with this insane traffic from North Dallas. And I decide I got to go food shopping. I got to get some stuff. So I decide that I'm going to go. This was just this afternoon. So I decide that I'm going to go to a Tom Thumb that I've never been to. That is not my Kroger, which I always go to. But there's also a Tom Thumb over here that I go to from time to time. So I'm not against the Tom Thumb. Dude, do different stores of the same brand, like would a Tom Thumb in one town offer a product, the same product as Tom Thumb in another town for like 25, 30 cents more? Is that a thing? Or aren't they isn't everything priced like Tom Thumb? This is what Tom Thumb charges for it. It doesn't matter if you buy it in Addison or if you buy it in Frisco at a Tom Thumb. It's going to, because I swear to God, they had this cheese that I like. And it was like, I don't know, it was like 70 cents more expensive. And I'm like, whoa, what is that? So I actually went to the Kroger and it was like 50 cents. I don't know. Is that a thing? Can just individual stores charge whatever they want? I thought all the prices were set.
No, not at all. Now there is a wild variation between different, stores in the same chain. Because it's funny you bring up Tom Thumb. Through my little Dallas experience, I lived by a Tom Thumb in 2 different locations. The first one was down at like Lovers in Greenville, and it's the Tom Thumb that's probably the most affordable close grocery store to the SMU campus. So going shopping there was amazing.
Actually, that's not true. The Tom Thumb, there's a Tom Thumb on the SMU campus at Inwood University. So that would be the SMU campus Tom Thumb.
Wow. Okay, okay. So whatever it was, if you go to the Tom Thumb that said like Lovers in Greenville, though, it's
nice.
Yeah, it's not just like that the women are beautiful. It's that they have like the beer cave and they have They have it decorated like above, like
What is wrong with you? Nobody assumed you were talking about the women. Why did you bring?
I brought up SMU. What do you think
Wait.
that I was talking about? Oh, the academics, the mathematical capabilities of the constituents of that Tom Thumb.
No, I just assumed when you said it's a beautiful store, you meant that it was, it was the decorations were nice, it was clean.
I'm clearing up that I mean both.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
The other Tom Thumb I lived in, the next to is that one that's kind of on the edge of Farmers Branch and Addison over there. What is that, Marsh Lane? Like where Spring Valley comes down?
Yeah, Midway, Marsh, they're all the same to me. They're all just that area.
It's definitely Marsh. I'm just Marsh and was that Brookhaven Club Drive or whatever it was. So that one was very much family oriented. There wasn't a big beer cave, and the the constituents were different, the products were different, the prices were different, the decoration was wildly different. But for the most part, you were still in a Tom Thumb. But no, it swung wildly.
And Tom Thumbs, they're a little bit higher end than Kroger, right? Isn't that do I get that right? Like a Tom Thumb is more like.
Well, I think Kroger and Tom Thumb might be sort of more equal than different. They're in the same genre to me, because in the step up you get the Central Markets, the Whole Foods, the fresh markets, and then in the step below is when you get sort of the
Albertsons,
Super One,
Supermercado.
Well, no, Fiesta and Supermercados and Michoacan or what, and all those other chains. They're in Ideal Mart's fantastic. But
I love a good Fiesta. I love a good Fiesta Mart. Right. They have a sausage there that I bought once for a barbecue, and now whenever we barbecue, I have to go there and get their I don't know, some kind of like Mexican seasoned sausage. It is so good. It's crazy.
Chorizo, right?
Yeah. I always feel like I don't know. I always feel like a crime is going to break out, though, whenever I go to a fiesta. It just seems like I'm going to get caught in some gang crossfire. It's a very colorful, it's a very interesting clientele, is what I'm saying.
The thing that always interests me about the Mexican grocery store, and maybe I should just say like Latin American in general, because they have a lot of South of Mexico foods in there. It's just how utterly different the produce aisle is. And I've always thought to myself, like, if you're from like a jungle, if you're from like Costa Rica or Venezuela or any of these number of Latin American countries, a mango is not exotic to you. That's what is growing on the street corner. Neither is a papaya or a guava or whatever, but it is exotic. An apple.
They love their apples.
So like what we consider just normal, deciduous, mundane, run-of-the-mill fruit, is that exotic to them? Because I guess it is, right? And they don't have that.
Well, wait, what kind of fruits would that be? Would they find, like, if you grew up in a favela on a hillside in Brazil, right? If you grew up there, you may have walked to school munching on a pomegranate, or something like that, some guava berry, something we've never heard of. But yeah, right. So right. what would be exotic to them? Would not bananas, because they got bananas down there.
Actually, we take bananas from there to here.
Yeah. What about oranges? Do they have oranges? I know apples, certainly colder climate fruit. Apples.
Oranges are pretty tropical, or anything citrus. I mean, look at the prevalence of lime.
Cherries. They don't have cherries down there. Cherries.
Great one. You gotta think because of the climate, you gotta think the deciduous fruits, the deciduous trees is what they don't have in the tropical climates. That is what we have that they don't have.
Right. Well, I was thinking more seasonal fruits. I was thinking more about fruits that and cold weather, like apples and cherries.
Strawberries.
Yeah. Pears. Jeff Ballard chiming in with pears.
Thank you. Yes.
My little Brazilian friend, here, have an exotic pear. We take them for branch here.
Georgia peaches. That's a deciduous tree. Yeah, peaches, plums.
Peaches, plums. All the good ones. Sounds like you're naming all the good ones, because I really don't want guava. I would rather have a nice, perfect Georgia peach.
Guava's a third world fruit that doesn't translate very well, but mango does.
No, mangoes are gross. Mangoes are weird. I don't know what they look like alien fruit. First time I had a mango, I was like, what planet is this from? This does not look like any, because I was raised on apples, bananas, pears, and oranges,
Right.
grapes, berries.
Well, the funny part is bananas are a tropical fruit. They have just ingrained themselves into our regular rotation with no explanation.
All right. All right. Very good. Hey, also, we need to announce today, right now, that we will not be doing a show tomorrow night. There will be no pillow talk tomorrow night. I have a meeting. We will have to see. It's a big mansplaining meeting with some important people. And also on that, on the 18th, we will not be doing a high noon show. I just wanted to put that out because we have other meetings. We have a lot of things set up. This is the down couple of weeks for us here while we regroup. And I wanted to give a shout out to Leslie because I had put the tipping back up there and really appreciate you got a couple of shekels you want to throw towards these shows. Thank you. This month,
which Leslie, there's like 8 of them.
No, I'll make that clear. This month is a tight month around here, as we are not doing mansplaining shows, so there is no income from advertisers. I still got my black whiskey though. I need more. So the show, just a little, you can tip a little something if you want. Treat me like you're my bartender, or I'm your bartender. That's what I always say. It's right there.
Jeff's making another good point. Jeff is saying, is it safe to say no pillow talk Monday with the Cowboys playing?
Nope. No pillow talk Monday. There you go. There you go. Because I just realized, thank you. Well said, Jeff. Because I'm going to have to watch that with my kid. We'll watch it together online.
Would you like to do a post-show recap, perhaps?
Possibly. Yeah, that's absolutely something we can do. That might be fun. That might be absolutely something we can do immediately following the Cowboy game. We could do that.
Because I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but I'm going to be raging. I'm going to either be ragingly happy or ragingly pissed off. And there's going to be no middle ground. I'm not going to feel lukewarm about the outcome of that game.
I probably will. I'll go with wherever the vibe is going. Wherever you're going, I'll go with you. I'm not here to be contrarian or be kind of a jerk. If they win, I'm on the bandwagon. If they lose, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much what I've been used to 25 years of watching the Cowboys. Just they blow it in the playoffs. So let me go back to what I was saying about I put the tip thing back up. So thank you. Appreciate it. Leslie, and we need to talk about my old friend, Leslie Gladback, who is one of my favorite people in the entire world. She goes a step farther. Leslie today sent me a case of Chef Boyardee ravioli because she knows that I love Chef Boyardee ravioli. And my goodness, Leslie has done this before. She is like one of the angels. She's fantastic. We go way back at this point. But you don't have to do that. That is so kind and so sweet. And I had 2 cans of ravioli tonight, so I appreciate it. But you don't have to do that. I mean, I'm not destitute. We're just talking about a little bit of money here to keep the lights on and stuff. But man, Leslie is one of the kindest, most warm-hearted. It's so lovely to just have this person who is so... I mean, my God, this isn't the first time she's done it. And I just wanted to say, yeah, it arrived. And thank you, Leslie. And that's so very kind of you. And I'm so appreciative. But you really don't have to do that. We're not at the point where I need, canned food. But, I love my raviolis. So thank you. I can eat an entire case of these Chef Boyardee raviolis over the next couple of days. I love it. My kid loves them too. So, we're just going to I'll eat them out of the can. I have done that before. Have you ever done that? Have you ever eaten like SkettyOs or something out of a can? And yeah, I still call them SkettyOs.
Yeah, probably half of my Chef Boyardee has been consumed straight from the can.
Drunk, 4:00 in the morning.
No, not necessarily consciously. This was a sober decision just by its scumbag 20-something James.
Do not cook it though?
Oh, often I did, but it may be half the time I've eaten it straight out the can, especially the ravioli, because you can just fork that whole can in your mouth in like 45 seconds. You can have a meal.
I've eaten raviolis right out of the can with the tin lid, open like that with just a spoon, like I'm fighting the Japs at Guadalcanal, just like that. Right. I've also done the thing with them where you put them in the microwave. And you think like a minute and a half is going to be enough, but then after like 20 seconds, you're like, oh, that's fine. And you just pull it out and it's just kind of warm, but it's not really cooked. It's just, some of it's still cold.
Center, and then you just power through because you're a hungry piece of garbage.
done that. Exactly. You're a fat drunk loser, and it's 3:00 in the morning in 1994. All right. All right. So we got all of that established. What's on your mind today? You got anything? Hey, I got a quick question for you.
Yes.
I was going back listening to some old tapes, and I caught myself. I said something, and and I went, "Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said that." But I said it so innocently. And with no malice. It was just obviously an absurd reaction. And James, here's what I said. We were talking about, I don't even remember exactly what it was we were talking about. It wasn't you and me. Actually, I think no, this was the High Noon. Yeah, this was the High Noon one I was listening back to. I described something. I said, yeah, I'm so tired of that stuff. Oh, God, that is so gay. I called something gay. like it was 1985 and I was on a playground.
I mean,
and I just,
2005.
Well, no, I mean, like a long time ago, the way as a kid, I used to use that word. As a child, gay was one of my top used words, and it always had something to do with I don't like ice hockey. Ice hockey's gay. It's like that. Like had nothing to do with sexuality or one's personal choices or one's orientation. It was a word that we used for everything. Taste this carrot cake. It tastes gay. That's how we used to use it. You'd be out with your friends and your mom and dad would be holding hands. You go, Mom and Dad, stop being so gay, right? It wasn't used as a pejorative to put down or put in place a minority, right? It was just.
It had no even intention of addressing anyone's orientation.
No, I didn't even know about that. I didn't even know, when kids used that word, I mean, I guess to some degree we knew what it was, but it wasn't like, and here's my deal. I listened back to the way I used it and I went, okay, that I kind of shivered when I heard myself say it, but then I went, wait, why? There was no malice. There was no harmful intent. I wasn't talking about a human being. I was talking about a thing. So why should I feel bad about that? I guess what I'm saying is if we use it like we used to, innocently like children, and we have no ill intent, is that a bad one? Like if I were to say, oh, Jesus, that's so gay. I don't like that show. That show's gay. I don't like this. That show's. I mean, I understand if you wanted to intellectualize it, you would say, well, what you're doing is you're taking a negative connotation and you're making that word the catch-all for everything negative. And that is, in fact, a pejorative against people who have, a sexual orientation that is not yours. And I get that. But why are we thinking so hard about it? It's, nobody's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I know you, and I know you don't have any ill intent. The reason why you should be hesitant or skeptical of doing that is because there's a lot of other people out there who will just blow up, who are just looking for someone to crap on, or some people who, even with good intentions, are hypersensitive about issues like that. I don't know. Maybe they had some brother who committed suicide because he was a latent homosexual who couldn't deal with it. You never know who you're dealing with, and there's been enough people out there, whether it's rational or not, who've expressed willingness to just react irrationally. So this is one of those things where read the room. If you're around me, you ain't got to worry about it, bro.
I don't worry about anything when I'm around you.
Me and you go on a road trip. You could just speak freely. It doesn't matter. Me and you are hanging out at a bar. What bar? What bar are we at? Are you going to speak like this? And if you and me are in a meeting where we're making a pitch about how Pugs and Parker may be on whatever network, you definitely don't do it. No. It's all about the context setting. So. But what I do realize here is when I explain this, I'm at the bottom of the barrel of that setting. There's there's no filter around Parker necessary.
Here's another question I have on that subject. So I understand why you shouldn't be using it against homo. Like you don't want it. I understand why there are other terms, slurs or whatever, that you don't use for specific reasons. And most of those specific reasons is because you're punching down. You are theoretically using a slur against a marginalized portion of society, right? That ain't the gays, James. In 2023, the gays are not marginalized anymore. I don't understand. This is like, at this point, it's like making fun of Swedes. You know, nobody feels defensive about the Swedes. Oh, I hate them damn Swedes. And don't get me started on them Ouijies. That would be Norwegians. No, like nobody cares, right? Because they're not a marginalized group. Well, neither are gays anymore. Do you think that gays are still in any way, shape, or form marginalized, or have they been completely mainstreamed and could be taking over? Which I am fine with. I don't have a problem with that.
Yes, it's filthy around here. They spruce the place up. Now, look, it's not whether you're punching up or you're punching down. That doesn't matter. We're not all part of some
It does matter. I disagree with you, but go ahead. It does matter. Continue.
Well, right, but it matters in the heads of the people who would be irrationally offended by your use of certain words that they deem are coloring outside of the lines, because they've got to go do a check on you, because they don't have the same rules that apply to everyone. Because if I say the N-word, it's not the same as if Dave Chappelle says the N-word, and so they have to go do a check. Someone said the N-word. Are you offended? I don't know. What color are they? And so they're the ones who are acting irrational. So look, I don't know.
Well, yeah, you just don't say the N word. That's not a
no.
That's an unspoken rule of our civilized society that white people just don't say the N word. Yeah, I'm not going to be one of these guys going, well, why can't I say it? Freedom of that's you're being an idiot and you're not taking a larger view of the thing. But I get your point. Your point is, I think intent should always be the thing that either gets you in trouble or doesn't. What is your intent? Oh, but you can't do that because that's nuance, James. And we don't do nuance.
Well, it's also impossible. It's also impossible to rank the hierarchy of what is punching up and punching down.
Gays are not punching down.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Can a Jewish person make a black joke?
No.
They just went through the Holocaust, and they went through the Holocaust like 70 years ago. So they can't. What they went through wasn't worse.
No. See, and black people can't make Holocaust jokes. See,
well, come on now. Now we have a paradox.
We're all going to try and have good taste and be decent, James. That's the criteria for this conversation.
Well, can blacks make fun of Jews? Is it punching up or punching down?
Well, I don't think that applies in this situation. We're talking about two marginalized ethnic groups or races. I guess black would be race and Jew would be ethnic group, and race, right?
And you're demonstrating my point. It's a paradox to try and say some people are punching up and some people are punching down, because gays are another good example. Are gays punching up or gays punching down? I don't know.
Top of the food chain these days. I don't understand it.
But gays have a higher median income than the average straight man, but also gays have a higher suicide rate than the average.
Successful.
Right. Well, monetarily speaking, absolutely.
They don't have kids. Not saying for the most part, most give me an but gay can have kids. Okay, fine. Wait, let's pull this a little bit further, because there are ones that I used to use all the time that I used to love to use. One of them is a slur against homosexuals, and that would be the F word. The F word as it pertains to homosexuals. I used to say that word all the time. When I'm 13, what's up? That would be like, that's how we greeted one another. Hey, look at that. I'm talking about fag. I'm talking about that word, right? We use that word all the time. I wouldn't use that one anymore, but I don't think gay is the same as that. The other one that I won't use anymore that I used to use all the time as a kid is retard. Used to do that all the time. Oh, you're being a retard. Oh, look at that retard. That's just because I'm a decent person. Because I grew up, I lived a little bit of life, and I understood that there are friends and parents that are, have children with these things. And that's just not funny. And there's no reason to put that out there in that way. So I won't use that word. I also won't get freaked out if somebody does, however. If somebody else chooses that they're comfortable putting that out, fine. That's fine. That's just not something I do. So I won't use that word anymore.
I think there's still a big context element, because if you're on a road trip with me and the only people that's going to hear this, I bet you use all those words.
It is about a willingness to offend. So you are correct. If I was in a group, let's say it's you and me on a long road trip, and we were just going for it. And what I mean by that is we're just riffing. We're just making fun of everything. Then yeah, I would not have a problem with that. But if there was somebody else in the car other than you, I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't say it.
I'm the safe friend. I'm everybody's safe friend.
It's not that it's because you're awful, but it's not that you're my safe friend. It's that I understand. It goes back to what you said earlier about reading the room, right? Like I get I can say these things. Now, if you and I go on a road trip and we're dropping N bombs, and then we're just shit people, right? Because what are we doing? That's why are we turning around in a car, right? But casually making references to words that I'm not comfortable using anymore, like retard or fag or whatever, that's, I guess, if it's just you and me in a car, that's fine.
Yeah, I experienced a weird life lesson when I was working. Have you ever worked in a setting that was just all men? There's not a woman around.
Well,
Military guys.
probably at a bathhouse. No, I don't think I've ever worked in a place that was. Well, I did landscaping work and stuff as a kid, so yeah.
It's the adult equivalent of the male locker room. You played football in high school, right?
Yeah,
You remember how guys just talk different when you're on the bus going to the football game? There's not a woman ear that's ever going to hear anything you're saying.
Yes, but it was also 1986, so
yeah. Okay, so you definitely know. So when I was working with all men, we used to insult each other just mercilessly in ways that would make all the women on The View lose sleep. And we all thought it was hilarious, and there were ethnic references left and right, and it was a very diverse crowd. Hell, it was a moving company, right? So there was whites, blacks, and plenty of Mexicans to go around. And so we were all really comfortable with each other, and it was kind of fun for us that had been there for a while, because anytime a new person showed up, they would be freaked out that we're just slurring the snot out of each other constantly, right?
Because they're not part of it. They don't get it.
And it was so uncomfortable for new people, man. And it would run some people off, but it was the situation where no one got offended, and I can't even think of a time when anyone took it too far and someone's like, "Hey, man, you need to back down," or whatever. Like, there was no such thing as offending these people. And so this is like, if you get into certain bubbles that are safe, you don't have to worry about that anymore. But when you talk to the public in general, just know that there's people out there who don't share our open attitude toward slurs, and you're going to really be offending some people, and you're going to have to deal with bad consequences. I hope it's that important to you.
Let's look at what Jennifer says in the chat room. She says, my ex calls anyone who is a dumbass a monkey, and I don't like that either. This is an odd one for me because my kid's nickname for about 7 years was Monk, because he was monkey. And I used to just call him Monkey because little kids are like little chimpanzees, right? They climb all over you, and it's like, get off of me, you little monkey. I don't what Jen is saying here. I don't know her ex-husband, but just from the way that is it her ex? Yeah. But just from the way she's wording it, it doesn't sound like he is using it as a racial signifier. Like it sounds like he just calls people monkey. And why can't we just call people monkeys? I mean, I understand that years ago, hardcore racists used to go, black people are monkeys, but I don't even see it. I don't even get that. Why don't you just call them polar bears? I don't get it. I don't understand. We all kind of look like monkeys, right? I mean, we're primates. We all sort of have that same thing. So I never really understood that. And I always got upset because I'm like, man, I call my kid a monkey all the time. And there is absolutely nothing racist about it. And it goes back to Howard Cosell. Howard Cosell, I think it was Alvin Garrett, returned a punt on Monday Night Football back in like 1989. And Howard Cosell said, look at that little monkey go. And Howard Cosell got in a lot of trouble because Alvin Garrett was black.
It was the end of his career.
Yeah, at the end of his career when he was old and slow, the old lion. You can take the old lion out when they're old and slow. But you will never, ever convince me that the man who completely marginalized his career going to war for Muhammad Ali in the 1960s and 70s when everybody was against him, you will never be able to convince me that he meant Art Monk was like a monkey because he's black. His excuse was, and it was totally believable, I call my grandkids that all the time. Look at those little monkeys go. I didn't mean anything by it. So that was some bullshit. I mean, you can tell when it's the monkey racial reference, right? You can tell. It's quite obvious. But the Art Monk thing, it wasn't Art Monk. It was It was Alvin Garrett, and it was
wasn't Christian McCaffrey, was it?
No, but what if he'd have said that with Christian McCaffrey? Would there have been any sort of?
Not a problem. See, that's the great thing about me. That's why everybody wants to go on a car ride with me. You can call me anything you want. You can say any word you want. I'm not allowed to get offended at anything, and I'm okay with that because that makes me the safe guy. People talk about your safe space. I am the safe space. I am the place where you can go and say whatever's on your mind. And even if I do have a grievance, it's just dismissed by the world at large.
He is a hold on. Where is?
These are some good comments. Go through some more of these.
I can't even get this one off. I can't even find this one.
You don't have to. If you just click another one, it replaces that.
No, but I want to be able to.
When you do the hover and show.
Oh, for crying out loud. Just talk about something. I know you can fill it. What's going on here?
Let's talk about monkeys.
Where the hell is that Jennifer one? I need to get it off.
You don't need to get it off.
Yes, I do.
You can just pull up the next one and it'll overwrite it.
Yeah. No, but I don't want to pull up the next one. I want it to be a blank screen. I just want it for moving forward.
Or pull up any of them and then hide it. You know where that one's at.
Oh, this sucks. All right, everybody stop posting things in the chat room for a minute, because every time I get close, the whole thing resets.
Participate in the show.
I know.
God.
I'm sorry. All right, here we go. Where's the one? See, this is why I don't like to do this. This is so hard.
You should let me do it. I'll send you.
It's completely gone. Seriously, it is completely gone.
Fine. Pick another comment, and you're already hovering over it, and then hide it.
All right, what is this? And then I'll hide that. All right, fine. That's fine. That's not the proper way to do it, James. But it did work, so thank you. But it's not the proper.
I'm all about the workaround, man. I don't solve problems. I work around them.
All right. I was going to go with some of these comments. You see any comments that you like? Rattle them off, because now
look at Charles. It says, I've said the R word to a guy who had mentally disabled family member and instantly felt horrible. Now, granted, he dropped an N-bomb on me, knowing my baby mama and child black. So I'm guessing Charles has a black baby mama and a half black baby. And so some guy drops an N-bomb around him. But when he drops the R word around a guy who has family member who's mentally disabled, it's a problem.
How about we all just toughen up? Easy for the middle-aged white guy to say that, right? It's so easy for me with my privileged, entitled existence.
Man, there was some guy, you know how when you're working in radio in like some giant corporations cluster, people just come through and use your studios as they're traveling around. There was some guy out of, I think it was Jacksonville or Carolina Panthers or whatever. He used to be in the NFL as a linebacker, but he became a sports talk show host. Big surprise. But his mantra was called Suck It Up, and he had suckitupusa.com. And I don't think it's still a website, but his whole mantra was, you know what? Life dealt you a crappy hand. Suck it up. Just from here on out, do what you can to make it better going forward. You know, your dad left you when you were 6 years old, so suck it up. Or you lost your job, suck it up. Or your wife left you, or whatever the hell happened. You know, you got your hand chopped off, suck it up. And while it was very abrasive and crass and a little too simple to be like a whole meaning of life, I did love the sentiment of just, you know what, shut up, suck it up. You know, bad shit happens to everyone all the time. I wish I could help you, but your whining isn't doing anything. So just suck it up and deal with it. I like that.
Well, it is good advice. It is good advice. And it would be nice if we could all just suck it up. But we can't because of victimhood, because people like to be victimized. Don't ever for a minute think that it's popular. I'm the victim. I have been and I'm not talking about, I'm speaking in general. People enjoy being victimized. They enjoy when things, they enjoy when they're called a name. And then maybe somebody, a stranger even, James, will come to their rescue and say, don't you call her names. And then you as the victim get to feel like I'm the center of attention. Why do people love being victimized so much?
because they've
Why do
never
we?
faced real adversity, and we are built to
That's
face
it.
adversity.
That's exactly
We
it.
are built to starve for like a
Exactly it.
year at a time because there was a bad
Mhm.
harvest, right? And fight off animals in the middle of the night, or just wake up covered in bugs, or eat the wrong plant, and all of a sudden you shit a kidney or something. Like, and we have lived in like the first century where we just don't face any hardships. I'm one of them too. It's not like I'm exempt from this. And I have the natural instinct to I'm supposed to be overcoming these big hardships, but where are they? You know, that I can't find the can
Well,
opener.
what are the hardships, right? I mean, it used to be a potato blight came by and took out the crop, and now we're going to starve this winter. That was a real hardship.
Yeah, and well,
I
here's the
know
deal.
what
Most of you
you
wouldn't
lose your
starve.
job.
Most of you would just miss breakfast and lunch every day, and you'd only have one meal. And it was like a big communal. Everyone suffered bad. No one suffers bad anymore. Like none of us. This is for we have like 10,000 years of recorded human civilization where everyone missed a meal, and it wasn't until like our parents were born that the beginning of human beings just not missing a
Breakfast,
meal.
lunch, and dinner. Breakfast,
Yeah.
lunch, and dinner wasn't a thing until about 80 years ago. That was that's a modern thing. Romans didn't eat breakfast, lunch, and
No.
dinner.
No.
They didn't. They ate one meal, and then until that meal came, that was typically like a dinner, they would just snack. They just snacked all day. They didn't sit down for lunch. Knights didn't say, let's take a break and have lunch. That's not something that was done back then.
The fun part is there's a lot of cultures who did have a lunch and everyone had dinner, but breakfast is just something we invented out of our ass 100 years ago.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, bacon and eggs. That's it.
Here, have a donut. Welcome to America. It's like, good morning. Have a cake. Have some cake. First thing in the morning.
Not only do we not starve, we have invented a third meal. We have increased our meal intake by 50%, and we're still not missing any meals. We're just fat as hell. Just
Yeah, we are.
every day. This is great. So, if you have a blueprint, if the machinery of the human experience is built to overcome huge obstacles constantly, drought or ice age or famine or saber-toothed tigers or woolly mammoth, or God forbid the next tribe over comes to start throwing spears at you or whatever. And we don't have that. We still, like your house cat has the natural instinct to go hunt something, even though there's nothing to hunt. We have the natural inclination. We are overcoming obstacles. They don't respect my gender identity, or they're trying to erase Christmas, or both sides do it. Both sides have their little foibles, or they have to invent some sort of catastrophe that they're gonna save the world from.
Were there no talking about overcoming hardships? Let's talk about the little black kids in Jim Crow South who weren't allowed to go to certain schools, or when they got to go to these schools, they faced all kinds of nonsense. People lined up trying to keep them from entering the school. All of that. That's a hardship. Okay. Now I'm wondering if any of those other kids had gender identity difficulty. Do you think any of those little black kids that we see trying to go to school. Do you think any of them, did kids back then not have these issues, or were they just simply not?
Well, here's what we can say. The number is not 0, but it's not the explosively ridiculous high number that we're seeing in 2023.
Today.
Yeah. And look, there's always, you'll find rare anecdotes here and there, whether it's in Norway or the Byzantine Empire, or like there was even a trans Roman emperor at one point. They're out there, but it is horribly scarce compared to the way it's being portrayed today, because I can give you like 11 TV series on Netflix right now that have a trans person, and that's ridiculous.
Let me stop you there. Is that because history didn't record it and just moved on? I mean, because that's all we have to go on. We don't really know how gay people were in Roman times. Actually, from what I understand, oh no, that was Greek times. Greek times, they were very gay. It was openly gay and openly sex with young boys. That's the Greeks were into.
Well, it's so hard to generalize that, because for the most part,
it was normal for their culture.
Well, it was normal for the middle class and upper class of just Athenian culture, and really just for about a 200 to 300 year span and a 4,000 year history. So yes, there are cultures where it was wildly accepted, but for the overwhelming majority of Greek history, it was not accepted. And for even when it was, the lower classes did not participate. Same thing when the Romans went through it. The people in the big cities were part of these decadent orgies or bathhouses or whatever, but people in the country did not follow in suit, as far as they were elastic to their
we
culture.
don't know. We know the wealthy and the 1%ers of that time, their lives were documented, so we have more information about them. The random plebe, living in a straw hut, we just found their dishes 1,000 years later, right? We don't know, but we don't know anything more about them.
Well,
So I see what you're saying, but we don't know what we don't know. That's the problem with this. It just doesn't seem like when we talk about adversity and you think about those little kids in Jim Crow South trying to go to school, that's real adversity. Now, did some of them, again, like I say, have gender identity issues? I don't know. It certainly wasn't the main focus that they were trying to overcome at the time, which brings us to what we're talking about today. People who have the problems today, well, it's a good time to have them because we should be very accepting. Or most people, we don't care, whatever. A lot of people are like, oh, I hate them, but whatever. Those are weird people anyway. They're broken. You're not going to fix them. But yeah, I think that's I don't, black kids going to school. That's something you got to try and get over. That's adversity. That's difficult. Whether or not you're a boy or a girl at 15, give it time. Work that out. Go to college. Figure it out there. We know what your birth certificate says. Again, I'm a man in my 50s just trying to figure this all out.
Are you bringing this up because there's like a story in the news that I don't know about?
What's that?
Like what is predicating this discussion? Is there some story in the news that brought this up?
No. I was listening back to an old show and I caught myself saying gay. Remember? And I winced and I was like, ooh, can I say that now? Is that some? That's the origin of this conversation. And look at how far it's taken us.
All the way back around.
All right. You got anything, James? What do you got? You got something you want to talk about here? I wanted to talk a little bit about the Frisco big news today in Frisco, but if you got something, let's do that.
Wait, there's Frisco big news?
There's massive Frisco big news. My God, you mean you didn't feel it in Tyler? You didn't feel the earth-shaking news in Frisco? Yeah, out there in Bug Tussle. Frisco announced today, they had a big mayor of Frisco, big banquet hall, everybody in suits having a fancy lunch, and there was a major Frisco announcement. And the major Frisco announcement is that Universal Studios theme park is coming to Frisco, Texas. They've got one in Orlando, and I think there's one in Hollywood, and now the third one is going to be in Frisco, Texas. They're going to they're going to build a Universal, like a Disney World. They're basically.
That sounds like huge news.
That is, dude. I told you it was like earth-shaking
news. That's Dallas-Fort Worth news.
Yeah, that's really big news, and I bet you the Six Flags people who've had this market all themselves for a long time are like, shit.
Or like, hey, can you build it down here in Arlington, you jerks? So we can share the crowd a little bit.
So here, we'll show you where it's going to go. We can pull this up.
Super cool, man.
Let's see. Pull up Frisco, Texas. Let's go for a Google map ride, shall we? It's going to be just off the Dallas North Tollway, north of Stonebriar. I forgot the name of the street.
Ooh.
Hold on. Let me see if I can grab this.
They have room over there by the Pizza Hut Park. Is that what they're doing? Man,
Frisco is like a virgin Arlington. Like Arlington's like an old scam. Arlington's been around. Arlington's got all up. Arlington's like the old whorehouse for your entertainment dollar. Frisco's like really nice. Like it's all, you know what I mean? It's like kind of they're doing what they're doing in Arlington with this major center for entertainment.
Yeah, hey, I'm digging this because they have the minor league baseball park. They also have the major league soccer team, and
they have the Dallas Cowboys. They have the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
the star is there. Yeah, but not just practice.
Don't they have a Top Golf up there?
Dude, Frisco has everything. They are building this. There is a massive PGA Tour event is coming to a new PGA resort that is going up right next to where the PGA Resort was in the last year. And then this year on adjacent property, they're putting up a Universal Studios. So you're going to have a minor league baseball team, the Frisco Rough Riders, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Star, which is the world's most impressive corporate football headquarters and practice facility and entertainment district. You've got Stonebriar Mall. You've got professional soccer. There's a professional soccer team that plays up there. You've got this PGA golf course and resort going up.
Is the Down Under Pub and Grub still there? Because that was pretty epic.
Dude, not only is it not still there, but I went over there. I took my kid. My kid went on a ball date with a girl up there at Stonebriar, so I dropped him off. And I just drove around. I tried to find the old Pub and Grub, and I couldn't find it. It is so built up. It is so complete. It's unrecognizable, Stonebriar. All right, here, let me pull this up so I'll give you an idea of what we're looking at, where this thing is going. Yeah, Bill points out that there's a Portillo's up there now. Bill says the Portillo's is opening soon. That is not the case. That Portillo's is open now, Bill. It's open now. That's right.
Well, Jennifer says Frisco's out of her 20-mile radius, so she's not going to go to Universal.
Yeah, you will.
That's a pretty tight ship you're running there, Jen.
Yeah, that's especially for something that could be that cool. All right, so here, let's pull out a little. Here's the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We go up here. We all know where Frisco is. Seriously, when I first moved here, Frisco, and now it's like the fifth biggest city in Texas. It's huge. It's massive now.
Yeah, and Frisco was one of those where a few highways are crossing, and you could see 20 years ago that this is going to be the next big thing. And so what we're all waiting on now is that big 380 corridor up at the top that goes from like Greenville to Sherman or whatever. That's the next one. And we're just going to have a
there it is right here. 380 here. Yeah, 380 is just like half a mile up from where this Universal is going. So that's the growth of the 380.
That's the next.
There's 380 there.
Right.
All right. So yeah. All right, you see this PGA Parkway? This is where they're building the massive PGA resort, and they're going to hold a major PGA event there. You know, like we get the Byron or you get the Colonial. There's going to be another one over here. And let me see if I can get you to where we need to go. Panther Creek. Okay. So, is this the tollway? I can't tell. No.
No, you're waiting.
All right, so here's where it's going to go. Here's the tollway.
There, yeah.
No, I'm right. This is where we're going.
Okay.
Right here, this area right in here, right off the tollway, just south of 380 is all undeveloped. Yeah, this is the area where Universal Studios Frisco is going to be. How exciting. Look at the rest of Frisco. Seriously, though, look at this town. This town is amazing. I should have bought property in Frisco. It doesn't matter. I sold a long time ago.
Yeah. Didn't you have a house?
I bought in Little Elm. I bought in Little Elm because I thought that was there was a lot. I was very happy with that house, but it was between Little Elm and Frisco. I should have gone Frisco. Anyway, yeah. So very exciting. Here, let me read this to you about what.
Hang on. Can you respond to Charles' comment before it scrolls off the screen?
What is Charles' comment?
Bottom one there.
Let me. Charles says, "Hey, yo, Pugs. Ben said something a few episodes ago that was really okay. All right, hold on. I just lost it.
Yeah, while we're reading comments.
Yeah, forget it. I don't know. I can't read it now. It's gone. It is absolutely gone.
Not absolutely gone. I can scroll down and read. It says, hey, yo, Pugs. Ben said something a few weeks ago that was really interesting, talking about when they first joined 105.3 Live. Would love to hear your side of the story, ?
He's talking about Ben of Ben and Skin.
Yeah.
What would be my side of this? That's not enough to go on.
I know. Well, let's talk about Charles. What do you mean? Ben's here. I'll just read it again. Hey, yo, Pugs. Ben said something a few episodes ago that was really interesting, talking about when they first joined 105.3 Live. Would love to hear your side of the story. So, Charles, you're year ago.
I don't know what he said, but I remember when Kelly and I walked out of 105.3, and I'm now comfortable saying that. I don't give a shit what I signed all those years ago. You want to take me to court? Let's go it. I walked out on you bitches, and you let us go because we held all the cards. Anyway, when we walked out, they replaced us in middays with Ben and Skin, who they'd acquired from the ticket. And I was very pleased with that because I was a fan of Ben and Skins. I thought they were awesome, and I wouldn't going back. I mean, it's not like we got fired for them. That wasn't the situation. You know, it was we had an issue with management, and so we walked out. And Ben and Skins came in, and I was totally fine with that because I liked them. I liked them as talents. I thought that they were good. And then I gave Ben a call very early on in their run there because it was in the early days of, well, it wasn't even the early days, but it was like people were still talking shit online. I guess it might not have Twitter, or maybe it wasn't early of Twitter or Facebook or whatever, but people were in shit. And so I reached out to him and I called him and I said, look, man, I just want you to know that from as far as Kelly and I are concerned, we're rooting for you. We think you guys are great. We treat the audience nice. You know, that's all we ask. They're wonderful. They'll come out and support you. You got to win them over. But there's no war. We had that conversation on the phone. It was a very nice conversation. And that was right after we left. And I hadn't spoken to him again until a couple of months ago, where we just rekindled a very friendly convo. I don't really have a side to that story. If Charles could maybe tell me more of what Ben said, I heard a little something about what he said, so I know it's not bad. Well, I know it's like, 'cause I know he's very friendly towards me, and we're friendly towards each other.
Leslie Gladback adds that probably that Russ was mean to him. Is there some sort of story that Russ was mean to Ben?
Oh, I don't know. Probably. Russ was mean to everybody. I mean, James, was he nice to you? I suppose we can start there.
Anything to this guy. Y'all don't even know what all this dude did to me, man. This guy was horrible.
I don't get it. I know. Some people are just not nice people. But you don't speak ill of the dead.
I do.
Well, maybe a little bit of time. All right, here's the thing. Frisco, Texas, James Universal Parks and Resorts announced Wednesday that a one-of-a-kind theme park is coming to Frisco. Officials said the park will be unlike any other in the world and is specifically designed for families. Oh, all right. As opposed to what? the go-go bar stylings of the other...
The old maids who were just unmarriable for their entire... young adult life. Yes, I want the people who were never married. I want orphans. That's what I want. No, not
you're universal. You make things like Moana and Minions. Of course, you want kids. You're not,
family, right?
The landscape, James, will be lush and green and will feature immersive themed lands from movies like Shrek, Madagascar, and Minions. It will be full of family-friendly attractions spanning 97 acres. There are also plans for a 100-room hotel. Well, that's the first. There'll be 50 hotels up there in 5 years, which will be located next to the PGA National Resort. I mean, look, there you go. There's the other big hotel that's going in up there. The entire area is intended to have a completely different look, feel, and scale than Universal's existing parks and will appeal to a new audience for the brand. So excited. So excited. That's a wonderful bit of news that dropped on us here in North Texas today.
That's huge. That's not like a regular old story like, hey, we're getting a new Piggly Wiggly or whatever. Universal Studios.
This mayor of Frisco, his name is Cheney. I watched him give his speech this afternoon on the video when I first saw the story. If this dude isn't reelected for the rest of his life, I don't know. This dude brought Universal Studios to Frisco.
So what are they stealing? Are they stealing the Byron Nelson or are they stealing the Colonial?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think the Colonial would have to stay the Colonial because isn't that where they play at the Colonial?
Well, I'm saying PGA is not going to have 3 events in DFW.
No, yeah, probably. Well, I don't know. You're right. That would seem excessive. That would seem like a lot of golf events for one area. Maybe the Byron Nelson will move because I believe the Byron Nelson isn't set. Do they still have that at the Four Seasons? I don't know.
No
Who knows?
Anyway. You think I know about golf? Jesus.
I don't know anything about golf. All right, well, there you go. That's very exciting. Look at that. That's all happening in North Texas. Coming, a new Universal Studios. Dude, we got a whole bunch of stuff that we didn't get into. I wanted to get into a radio fight with you that's happening in New York. We had audio. We're going to play both sides of the argument. I wanted to get into...
Is it someone I know?
Who do you know? What do you know? Tell me what you know.
I don't know. We know people who were in New York.
Oh! I thought maybe you were saying, am I familiar with this story? No, it's Michael K. Michael K. ESPN. Michael K. Michael K. is a.
Were you about
you
to
should
make
know
an
Michael K.
reference?
Yeah, hold on. Michael K. is the voice for 25 years of the New York Yankees. He's the Yankees television play-by-play guy, and he's got a afternoon show in New York City that's very popular sports show. So he's in a war with his producer. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. ODB. I was going to talk about ODB. There's video out now, raw police footage of when he got kicked off that plane in Miami over Thanksgiving weekend. It's crazy.
He has been dead for 10 years.
Yeah, I call him Odell Beckham. Okay. Not ODB from
J.
Not Wu Tang, but yeah, I do. I call Odell. No, ODB, Odell Beckham. I don't count the junior. It's ODB. It's Odell Beckham.
Yeah, but Odell is the O. It's OBJ. Yeah.
And the D is the Dell. Let's move on.
And Odell is Osama bin Laden, and ODB is Russell Jones from Wu Tang.
And then
okay. So tell me about. I didn't see the OD. Yeah, me saying it now. The OBJ video. What's the update on that?
We don't have time. We don't have time. He fell asleep in a plane, and they had to get everybody off the plane because he refused to leave, and it was just crazy. It's just a weird video, but I thought we could break it down. We're out of time.
Yeah, we're not out of time. Do it. Let's break it down. Let's go. Hurry, go,
dude.
Go.
We are out of time because we've got 4 minutes left, and we haven't even mentioned that Jeff Beck died about 5 hours ago. So that's not a major story in your world.
No. What,
Jeff Beck.
You always in the Yardbirds or something?
Oh, I forgot. I'm talking to a guy who didn't know who Crosby, Stills, and Nash were.
Wasn't he in the Yardbirds? Right?
Yeah. He was.
I am a guitar player, so I know of the Jeff Beck contributions to the guitar lineage, and I know he's part of that rotation of the Yardbirds, which is an amazing story between who was it? Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, and Beck. Right?
It's Eric Clapton. It's Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page. They're in the Yardbirds. Two guys before Zeppelin, before Cream, before before Dominoes. These are the two guitar players. One of these guys had to be rhythm. Jimmy Page or Eric Clapton. You know what I mean? One of these guys. So then they lose Eric Clapton because Eric Clapton, people are like, that Eric Clapton is a great player. So he's like, I'm going to go solo because everybody thinks I'm great. And then Jimmy Page is the only guitar player in the band. And he goes, you know what? Let's bring in my friend Jeff. And it was Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page were the three guitar players for the Yardbirds, a band that isn't even known for their guitar playing. They're not even, it's not like they're Van Halen, it's just, but he passed away today. Very sad. I was going to read some of the Twitters, man, everybody from Mick Jagger to, the people who are just writing nice tweets about Jeff Beck. I was a big fan of Jeff Beck. We'll Get Ready is just absolutely beautiful on guitar. Well, but he's dead now.
Jeff Beck is in this amazing category of guitar players that I know that if I practice for the rest of my life, I'll never be as good as some of these people because it's just their brain just works better than mine when it comes to and as smart as I am and as good as I am, talented as I am in other areas. There is this level of guitar players, and I've met them and I've played with them, and I don't want to say I idolize them, but I am so jealous. Like there was this random guy that I used to buy weed from this girl, and her boyfriend was named Scott, and he played in a couple bands, and he used to just sit there and shred my face off in his living room. But he's never going to be anybody. He's never been in a band. Like he was in like the backup guitarist for Jet or Doosu or some Dallas band for a while. One of those 18 bands that you've heard of. Jeff Beck is like one of those guys, but at the top level of the guys where they just think in guitar.
There is a and we've seen these guys, and since we're talking about guitar players, we'll just stick to guitar players. But they can't, if you're a guitar player yourself, these dudes can't teach you that. These dudes don't know how they do it. They don't. It's just natural and second nature to their, what Alice Cooper told a story about when he was in the 60s. He was in a band. It was a Yardbird cover band, and they were the house band at this club in Arizona where they were just coming up. And the Yardbirds toured, and the Yardbirds came and played this little club. And Alice Cooper's band was put up on stage as the opening act, and they were a Yardbirds cover band. So they just played all these Yardbird covers before the Yardbirds actually came out. And he told the story. Yeah, right? That sounds
Alice
like the
Cooper
Yardbirds
was in a Yardbirds cover band, and then he opened for them?
Yeah. He was the band that he was in, the house band at this bar in Arizona, was the Yardbirds cover band. He ended up opening for the Yardbirds at this club. He did all the Yardbird songs, and the Yardbirds were just like in the back of the room drinking and laughing. He was very nice about it. Like he said, "Oh, they're giving us the thumbs up," and then they came up on stage and did the exact same set that we had just done, and they blew us off the stage. And he was talking about how when you get around these people, and he's Alice Cooper. I mean, you and I, we've been around some musicians. Alice Cooper has been around better musicians, right? Alice Cooper has probably sat on a back porch with Eddie Van Halen, right? I mean, these are the people. So what he said about the Yardbirds, and this went viral earlier today. Alice Cooper said, there was a moment. Oh, so the question to Alice Cooper was, so who was the best? You're such a Yardbirds freak. Who was the best? Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, or Jeff Beck? And he said, well, in this show, Jeff Beck was playing guitar, and Jeff Beck was getting some feedback, and he was having a problem with his sound. His sound wasn't right. So he was turned this way, talking to someone off stage, holding the guitar by the neck. It was sustaining and reverbing. So you were hearing that. And then as he was having a conversation about what was wrong with his guitar, he was bit by bit dropping the guitar, like he's holding it by the and he's from the bottom of it, and he drops it a little bit, and every time he drops it, he hits another note, and he's playing the song, arguing with a tech, and then at the very end, he just went boom, and he was at the very top, and it was the end of the song. And Alice Cooper said, I have never seen anybody do something like that with any instrument anywhere. He wasn't even thinking about how he was playing. It was just so second nature. And then Alice Cooper was asked about, okay, so who is it, Clapton, Becker, or Page? And he said, Eric Clapton is probably the best white blues guitar player that there has ever been. Jimmy Page might be the greatest rock and roll lead guitarist of all time. Jeff Beck is the greatest guitarist of all time. That's what Alice Cooper said. And this, by the way, was recorded months ago. Right? Or, well, probably even longer than that. But it wasn't just like him talking about someone who had just died. I mean, this was when they're all still alive, and he's just rating them like that. It was a very, very interesting conversation.
Well, it's also like to non-musicians, it's really easy to explain. Like, what do you mean? Why can't Jeff Beck explain to these other guitarists how to play that good? Imagine asking Barry Sanders how to juke a guy.
Right.
Yeah. He can't tell you. Like, how do you know when to do a spin move? I don't know.
Yeah. You can't. I knew a guy who was a pro baseball player, and he got injured, and he got sick, and so he wasn't able to play pro baseball. But he was a great pro baseball player. And I remember we were and this was after he had been sick. He was probably 30 years old. And we were in a batting cage just messing around, and he is just 30 years old, hasn't played in a long time, was on the pro level, and was a highly touted prospect. And he's just in this batting cage in the fast pitch. I don't know if you go to a lot of batting cages, but I stay away from the fast pitch. I'll break my back. I'll hurt myself trying to get around that quick these days. This dude with one hand was having a conversation with his kid who was on the other side, and he's just with one hand holding the bat in the batting cage, just cracking in the and I'm like, that's just a talent. That is just something I will never be able to do. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
So people,
dude, I should write out at the batting cages. I suck.
You know what I can do? You want to know what I can do? I can talk for 2 hours Monday through Friday at noon. That's it. Turns out that's my one talent. No way for me to really make anything of myself with that talent, but that's one that I have.
Yeah, and look, you wouldn't think that would be a talent that makes money, but I have gotten a call. Well, I was picking up my kids from school, and it was like it was USA Radio. They're like, hey, we're having a technical issue. Our host's internet's down. Can you go on the air in 10 minutes? And I was like, yeah, I can. Just nothing prepared. I just know I just got my kids. I'll be home in 8 minutes. I can go boot everything up and be on and just make some shit up for 3 hours. Just no
talent.
yeah.
Look at you go. That's a real talent. Absolutely.
It's $150 and Papa needs his money. Damn it.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right, we're done. Tell people where they can hear Florida Stories.
I have no idea.
Oh, what a dick. Why did he go away like that? I had one more thing that I wanted to mention to him, but I guess that will have to wait for another day. All right, folks, we will see you tomorrow. Here's something fun. So today on the High Noon Show, we went through all of the winners for the Golden Globes last night, and I talked about that Everything Everywhere All at Once, that South Korean movie or whatever. I talked about how I want to see it. Turns out I have access to it, and I watched the first half hour of it this afternoon. I only intended to watch 10 minutes just to see what it was, and I ended up watching a full half hour before I had to leave and go do something. I'm going to go in the other room, and I'm going to finish watching Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that movie, at least the first half hour, is awesome. It is not at all what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be stupid. I didn't think it was going to be The Matrix meets Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It is good. So if you have a chance to see it, it's available on Showtime. If you have Showtime, won a bunch of awards at the Golden Globes. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Yeah, pretty good. So I'm going to go watch that. All right, bye, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. Tip the show if you can. We'd appreciate that. Jeff says Banshee was really good, but dark movie. You talking about Banshees of Inisherin? Yeah, it's dark, man. It's dark. It's dark. Snip, snip. I won't give anything away. I love that movie. But Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, man, crazy. It's about multiverse hopping, and it's about all these different versions of yourself that exist, and when you encounter all the different versions of yourself, and then Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is awesome. It's pretty good. Now, it might suck for the next hour and a half, or however long I have left in the movie, but first half hour was very good. Jen says she heard Jared Carmichael's jokes. Yeah, I thought he was great last night. I thought he was completely different than any host that we've ever seen host one of these things before. He was low-key, he was subdued, and he was biting. His shot at Tom Cruise and Scientology. Woo! Is it hot in here? He was good. I don't even know who that guy is. I know he used to have a show. All right, bye, everybody. See you tomorrow at noon. Love you. Bye. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.